Thank you for purchasing an AeonAir Dehumidifier. This instruction video will cover maintenance, installation, and troubleshooting for our 30, 45, 60, and 70 pint models.
The first thing we want to do in the setup process is carefully remove the unit from its carton.
To install the 4 quick connect casters that come with the unit, first lay the unit gently onto its back. In each corner there are grooves. To install the caster, align its base with the groove and then apply pressure until you hear a snapping noise. Repeat for each caster and groove.
After installing the casters, we want to place the unit upright again, and then wait about 30 minutes before turning the unit on. This is to allow the oil in the compressor to settle. Next, we want to look over the unit and remove any packaging material, such as strips of tape meant to hold the water tank in place.
This is the control panel. You'll notice that it has 6 buttons, several indicator lights, and 2 display screens. We're going to go through each one of those groups one at a time. The 6 buttons are as follows. Starting on the left, we have our power on, off button. Depressing this button will activate or deactivate the unit. Beside this we have the fan button. Depressing this button will toggle through the 2 fan speed modes available. These are low fan speed and high fan speed. This is the timer button. Pressing this will allow you to set a time cycle for the unit. So, for example, if you depress it, you can select anywhere from 1 to 24 hours, and after those hours have expired, the unit will stop running. These buttons are used to adjust either your set humidity level or, as has been said, to adjust the number of hours you want the unit to run for before shutting down. Finally, we have our Celsius Fahrenheit toggle button. By depressing this button, the room temperature display will switch between displaying the current room temperature in either Fahrenheit or Celsius. The control panel includes 5 indicator lights. In the top left-hand corner is the defrost indicator light. When this is activated, it means the machine is presently going through its defrost cycle. This is nothing to be worried about and is perfectly normal. Below it is our bucket full indicator light. When this is activated, as the name suggests, it means the bucket is presently full, should be removed, emptied, and replaced. These are the fan speed indicator lights. The top one indicates that the machine is in low fan speed mode, and the bottom one, high fan speed mode. Finally, we have the timer indicator light. If the machine has presently been set onto a time cycle, this light will be activated. It will go off after the unit has completed the time cycle that has been set. For example, if it's been set for 1 hour, after 1 hour, it will go off and so will the unit. Or, if you want to just turn it off, you can go back into your timer mode, reduce the time to 0, and that will deactivate the timer. Each display screen on the control panel provides us with unique information. The screen on the left will normally provide us with the current room temperature, either in Celsius or Fahrenheit, as has been selected. It will also tell us, in timer mode, the number of hours we wish to select for the unit to run before turning off. For example, if you go into timer mode and select anywhere between 1 up to 24 hours, the number of hours you have selected will temporarily display in this display screen for a few seconds, and then it will revert back to displaying the room temperature. The screen on the right will ordinarily display the current humidity level in the room. When adjusting the humidity level, it will display in increments of 5% the humidity level you have selected, and once you have ceased adjusting the temperature after a few seconds, it will revert back to displaying the present humidity level in the room.
On both sides of the unit, there are handles available for removing the bucket. Place your hand, your fingers, into the handles and apply a modest amount of pressure, and the bucket will be released. Next, we're going to take a look at the direct or continuous drain feature of this unit.
The first step in setting up direct drain is to remove the drain cover at the back of the unit. This is done by turning it counterclockwise. Until it is removed. Next, we have to remove the drain plug.
Now that the drain cover and rubber stopper have been removed, we want to take any standard garden hose and fasten it to the drain outlet. You make sure it's tight. Next, we want to find a suitable location with a floor drain where we can evacuate the water from the unit. It is important to remember when we are setting up direct drain that we have a sufficient length of garden hose for our purposes and that it reaches the floor drain. You can cut the garden hose once you have determined the suitable length. It is also important to remember that there are no obstacles or kinks in the garden hose between the unit and the floor drain. This unit is a gravity drain, so the whole hose should be sloping downward from the unit to the drain.
Behind the intake grill, your unit comes with a removable air filter. To access the air filter, you want to remove the bucket or the water tank. Once you have done so, look for the tab and gently pull down. To return it, line it up from where you removed it. Press until it is completely returned and restore the bucket.
During regular operation, it is important to clean the air filter once every 2 weeks, or more frequently if in a dusty environment. To clean the air filter, use a vacuum cleaner with a hose attachment, or wash it in clean water, then dry with a dry cloth.
Now the bucket includes a carrying handle for transporting a full bucket. And it also has this feature, which is very important. This is the float switch mechanism. As
the bucket fills with water, it will catch on to this float switch, and as it raises up, it'll eventually hit a maximum point, at which point the unit will stop running to prevent flooding. It is important when unpacking the unit to make sure that the customer has removed any tape or other packaging materials in or around the float mechanism, because if it's locked, for instance, in this position, in the bucket full position, the unit won't run. And also any obstacles or troubles with the float switch at all run the danger of defeating the mechanism and possibly causing flooding. So if there's any issues with flooding, the first thing to check is the bucket and this float switch mechanism to make sure there's no packaging material and to make sure it's there and it's working properly.
You can set the humidity level on these units to as low as 30% RH or as high as 90%. If the humidity level in the room is below 30%, then the unit will not operate.
During regular operation, it is important to make sure that the set humidity level is below the room humidity level. The room humidity level is by default displayed in the right screen. To adjust the humidity level, use either the up or down buttons on the control panel. Your set humidity level will display temporarily before reverting back to the room humidity level. It may take a few moments for the compressor to kick on and the machine to begin lowering the humidity level. If the unit is being operated at temperatures below 65 degrees Fahrenheit, frost will eventually accumulate inside of the unit. To remove this frost, the unit enters into defrost mode. During defrost mode, the unit will not be removing any moisture from the air. The colder the room temperature, the more often or the longer the unit will have to be in defrost mode. Thus, it will be less able to remove moisture from the air the colder the temperature is. If it is below 41 degrees Fahrenheit, the unit should not be used at all, as it will be spending most of its time in defrost mode.